Penn State happens.
B94.
On 2014 happened where Penn State happens. B94.5.
272-B945.
What's going on, everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Kelly Terry's with us now. Hey, Kelly, thanks for checking in this morning.
Morning, Kelly.
Thank you for including me today.
Well, we appreciate you giving up the time to come on this morning. We know you're busy. You lost your daughter Maya to cancer.
Yes, I did. My daughter was 10 years old and lost her battle April 10th of this year.
April 10th, so about 6 months ago. And you recently, if I heard this correctly from Angela, who's her aunt's friends with you,
right?
You recently kind of found out what Thom was all about and what goes on up here in Happy Valley, and you were. Some people might say, oh man, like that, I wish my daughter could be a part of it. And other people like yourself are saying, man, that is amazing. And you wanted to kind of call in and have your voice be heard up on this end because you thought it was so cool that so many students do this.
I was actually overwhelmed by the Facebook posting that I saw on Thom and the whole Go Gold approach. I was not aware that it was going on, so I'm very happy to hear about it and that it's been going on for a while. And the more that I've been asking my friends, they're very, very familiar with it. It's kind of a contentious issue for me a little bit because everybody's so familiar with pink and breast cancer, and my mom is actually a breast cancer survivor, so I can appreciate the effort that went into making this whole world understand the power of pink. Mm-hmm. But I think our children need as much awareness, so every time I see something like this, I get very, very excited because their voices are now finally being heard.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Penn State students have been doing it up here forever, and it's an amazing thing to see it. I know it happens all over the country as well. This happens to be one of the big ones. It's been going on for 40 years here at Happy Valley, and to see all the money raised, and like I was saying, see the kids so happy to be able to go out and see these things, and they got to kind of get to hang out with college kids, which there's nothing cooler than that. So this weekend, Thom's going to be canning around the stadium and doing, well, I shouldn't say canning, they're going to be raising money around the stadium, then they're also going to be doing some stuff up here at the football game. There's going to be a big gold ribbon that they're forming inside there, and I know they're asking for a lot of people to wear gold to the football stadium, which is where you kind of heard all about this and jumped on board. You have a foundation for your daughter, the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation, right? Can you tell us about that?
That's true. During Maya's battle, we had vlogged her entire journey. It was a 5.5-year battle, and it was rather horrific. Mm-hmm. Upon her passing, we said, we can't let her message and her vibrancy and her need to do well for others, despite what was going on in her own life, die with her. So we created the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation. We were incorporated as a charitable nonprofit in June of this year. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we try and spread hope and joy to the children and their families that are battling. Despite being relatively new, we've already helped 5 children in the state of New Jersey.
That's awesome.
With bringing smiles and wishes and buying them wigs. I mean, can you imagine a 9-year-old girl, her only wish is to have a wig so that she can go to school?
Unbelievable.
That was actually our first. Another effort that we try and do is to create resources and awareness for pediatric cancer research. My daughter, unfortunately, based on her battle, was not under traditional protocols. She was treated for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a very rare cancer for a 5-year-old girl that actually affects teenage boys more often. Mm-hmm. The treatment for her cancer actually gave her a secondary cancer, which was not curable with traditional chemotherapy. She actually had to go into a transplant scenario. And the more we became involved with going into a research scenario and actually winding up getting treatment at the St. Jude Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, we found that only 4% of the entire nation's funds that are set aside for cancer research go to children, and I found that disgusting. Mm-hmm. Not that I want to cut out adult cancers, but you have 4% of the entire nation's budget treating 11 different types of pediatric cancer. So it's not just going to breast cancer, and it's not just going to leukemia. It's going to 11 different types of cancers that affect children. It's horrible. So efforts like what you have and efforts like what we have, a grassroots foundation, go directly to funding research that will aid our children. There have been only 2 drugs created for children's pediatric cancer in the past 20 years in this country, and we have to change that. And if we can change it with things that you guys are doing with the Go Gold and your Sons and the grassroots foundations like the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation, eventually our country will give the recognition and the resourcing that's necessary to save our children.
Yeah, absolutely. $12 million plus raised last year up here in State College by the students at Penn State and by all the students from the branch campuses at Penn State to make that happen. And as one of the fathers said a year or two ago, in front of all the students, when he was in front of everybody on stage, they have it at the Bryce Jordan Center, our arena up here. He said, "You helped save my son's life," and all the students really, I know, they felt that day. So. Now, you said your daughter, Maya, she fought it for over 5 years?
My daughter fought for 5.5 years. We found out in October of 2007 when she was in kindergarten. She had no symptoms whatsoever. Her kindergarten teacher thought that her neck looked swollen, and we found out within 6 hours of being called from her kindergarten class that Maya was fighting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
She battled for 2 years the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We were getting ready to get off treatment only to find out that she was diagnosed with secondary acute myeloid leukemia, which secondary means that the treatment for the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma caused her to get a second cancer, which is another rarity, and it's disgusting. So we had to switch gears, and we went from the Monmouth Medical Center in New Jersey, and we had to transfer her over to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, where she underwent a bone marrow transplant using an anonymous donor. She fought very well, was able to return to school, and relapsed. And upon her relapse, we found out that there were no other options for her at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and there were no other national protocols acceptable to treat Maya's cancer, and they sent her home on hospice and said, "You have a couple weeks, a couple months to live." Yeah. And we were not okay with that answer, and we went into a research environment, and we contacted the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital out in Memphis, Tennessee, and said, "Is there anything that you can do for our daughter?" And they said, "Well, understanding what a research protocol means, your daughter is going to be a research project for us. If you can live within that scenario, and we can give you a certain amount of expectancy of what we think may happen, may not happen." And we approached our daughter, who is wise beyond her years, and she said, I want to continue to fight, and that's what we did. However, upon arriving at St. Jude, using a research chemotherapy protocol, my daughter, within 3 days of her very first dose, suffered heart, lung, and liver failure. And they sent us back to New Jersey for further treatment and rehabilitation and said, we're willing to keep going if you want to. And about 2 months later, Maya met the minimum protocol for treatment, and we went back to St. Jude, and we tried it again, and she was exceptionally successful. She went through a second transplant using a second donor, and she was back home within 7 months doing amazing. Unfortunately, she relapsed, and she relapsed very aggressively less than 1 year following her transplant. And they said, "We have one more trick up our sleeves if you want to give it a go." And she said, "Yes, I want to give it a go." And she went for her third transplant. This time they used myself as her donor. And they said, "We're purposely going to mismatch her donor. Normally you want to match your donor with somebody whose genetic makeup or DNA is very much like your own." In this case, they said, "Let's go with something radical, and let's purposely not match her. And let's try and create what's called a graft versus host effect." They wanted to give her graft versus host disease because that also creates a graft versus leukemic effect.
Okay.
So they gave her another transplant. I was her donor. Unfortunately, there were a lot of side effects, which they had expected based on this approach, and she relapsed within 60 days. They were finally able to get the right mix where they were going to continuously give her a certain dose of chemo and a certain dose of my cells, and they were treating it now as a chronic illness as opposed to a terminal illness. They said, "Your daughter will never beat leukemia, but we believe we can extend her life for a very long amount of time with minimal intervention using this approach." However, based on the 5.5 years worth of chemotherapy, radiation, and everything that they did to get her to this point, her organs started shutting down one at a time. And she never left ICU from January of 2013 to April of 2013. And finally her body said enough is enough, and we lost her.
And right now, if anybody wants to follow along with this, you can go to the MayaLynn.TerryFoundation.org, and just looking through the website, the beauty of it is you can see everything that you and your family have been through, the positive sides, the negative sides, the blog over 5.5 years, the battle, and all the good things that you're doing now to kind of spread the awareness of going gold towards pediatric cancer awareness. You and your family are doing something cool on there, the Pay It Forward area there, and just different ways to kind of keep her, keep her living here in spirit, and keep that going, so you can be happy and that everybody else can spread it. You said it already helped 5 different people, and you're going to keep that going. Well, as a parent, I mean, this was only 6 months ago. What does keep you going? I mean, I know the website and the foundation means a lot to you. What keeps you smiling every day?
I live through distraction. I see these kids fighting every day, and Maya's giving personality, and her grabbing life by the you-know-what, even when she was getting knocked down, is what drives me forward, because there are 42 children diagnosed every single day in this country with cancer. And if her passion for life and her ability to make a difference in such a short time, like just the research protocols that she underwent and what they have learned from her, they're already saving lives. I mean, Maya was the first child to survive a deadly fungal infection based on an approach they used with her. And because of that, other children will not have to suffer the way she did.
Yeah.
So when I see those faces and those moms call me for the first time, I know that what we're doing is good, and I know that it can get bigger and bigger. And that's what keeps me going, is we have to make a difference. We can't allow 7 children die every day. That's not okay. And we need to change it.
How do you remember Maya, you and your family and all her friends? What was she like?
She was a in-your-face kind of little girl. I mean, she might have been 5 years old when this battle started, but you weren't getting anything over on her. If she wanted something, she was going to get it. She told the doctors exactly what she wanted and didn't want. So we kind of take the same approach. We're battling right now a cluster study in the state of New Jersey. We feel that there's a very high incident rate, too high for what's expected. So we're fighting, and every time that I feel that we're getting beat up, I remember her getting in the grill and saying, no, that's not acceptable. This is how it's going to be. And we just celebrated Halloween, which was one of her favorite holidays. So we do things like that to honor her memory and keep it going.
Yeah, unbelievable. Amazing how strong you are. February 21st up here in Happy Valley is Thon 2014. I think you should come up and check it out. I think you'll be amazed by how much awareness is being spread up on this side of 4 hours away from where you are right now. And it's the same thing you're doing here with Maya's Foundation. It's amazing stuff. So
I think that's awesome, and I definitely will make every attempt to be there for you. We have local events also. We're doing a polar plunge in January. We're doing a warrior jam with a battle of the bands of kids. And like you said, young adults, even younger than college, they get it. And they're very powerful, and they want to be heard, and they want to fight for their friends. So I think there's a huge movement going on in this country, and I'm very proud to be a part of it and to help it along.
Kelly, so as I'm from New Jersey as well, and I'm also a Thon 2014 captain, so being from New Jersey and being a Thon captain as well, I hear a lot of stories about kind of like your daughter and I was paired with a 4-diamond child, and she also lost her battle against pediatric cancer. So I just want to let you know that I'm personally extremely inspired by this entire thing. And at my weekly meetings with my committee, we share inspirational stories, and I just want to let you know that you have officially got my inspirational story for my meeting next week. And I'm really, really thankful for you sharing your story this morning, because it's somebody from New Jersey and somebody who's involved in Thon, this has definitely hit a spot for me.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. And my neighbor is a graduate of Penn State and has been to many Thons across the 40-year span. And I don't know, maybe her and I can make a road trip and do this in February.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That definitely can't be easy. The Maya Lynn Terry Foundation, the Maya Lynn Terry Foundation.org is the website. There's Facebook and Twitter as well. We just threw on our Twitter and Facebook page. You can get more information there. And it's Kelly's blog about her daughter's 5.5-year battle there, the ups and downs, and then all the other things on the website. My Story, Pay It Forward, and all the other events they have coming on, the Polar Bear Plunge and the Battle of the Bands and all sorts of stuff. So you can check it all out right there. And we'll be thinking about you this weekend, Cal.
Sure. Thank you very much, and I'll be looking for all the gold.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good weekend, and hopefully we can talk to you again soon, kind of catch up and see what's going on, because we do have a ton of kids up this way that go back to New Jersey over the weekends and on the New York area and South Jersey, so they're always heading that way. So we'd love to help get some people on our end out your way.
Sounds perfect. Thank you again for including me today.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
The Zoo, it's all B94.5, Friday edition right here.
Where Fawn 2014 happens.
B94.
Where Fawn 2014 happens.
You say to me all the time over the